You might have never understood a word I've said or anything I've written. This morning's guest says he can help. Stay tuned. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Redline Power Sports on Highway 501 in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the Understanding Corporation, and we're visiting with Larry Amick, its co-founder. Good morning, Larry.
Very good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in. This is so exciting.
It's early, too.
It is. 7 a.m. It's tough for a lot of folks. We got a lot of viewers who are getting ready to get folks off to school or obviously getting ready to get off to work, and we're here all dressed up in an ATV dealer. They're obviously going strong in the morning. What about this place? It's amazing.
Amazing place.
Did you walk around a little bit before we started?
I rode around on one of the ATVs.
Is that right?
It was fabulous.
Really getting it right. Now,
It's a great place.
It is amazing. Just walking around and getting the sense of the whole. Folks have to get out here just to see what it's like.
It's special.
Thanks again for coming in. And obviously last Thursday night, you were down for the ICE Awards, the ceremony at the House of Blues, which I saw Understanding Corporation was the presenting sponsor. That's a big deal.
We were proud to present that. It was a wonderful, wonderful event.
A series, those 20 winners, they had the 10 individuals and the 10 business winners, and to know that folks came in from all over, there was a lot of fanfare leading up to it, and obviously having you down, and it was tremendous having you here.
We were pleased to do it.
Absolutely. Real quick about yourself, Larry. Are you originally from the area?
From Burlington, North Carolina. I grew up there. Went to High Point College, now High Point University initially. Went in the Army for 3 years during the Vietnam time. Came back to graduate school at Duke, and then got a graduate degree from Carolina later on.
Is that right? What was the degree in?
Public administration. Undergraduate degrees are in science and math.
What was that like being in the Army during Vietnam?
I was pleasantly surprised to find I spent most of my time in Europe, and so I stayed away from Southeast Asia, but it was an exciting time where we all looked every day to see where our orders were going to take us.
You probably had friends, though, and classmates growing up in Burlington that ended up in Southeast Asia.
Many of my OCS class were over there, that's right. Some of them didn't make it, most of them did.
Golly, I'm sure that would be tough. And, of course, when you ended up getting the Master's in Public Administration, did you plan on Was that a career path you thought about for a long time?
Well, I became a administrator, local government, so I was administrator in the city of Durham and finance director and director of administration for the city, but then went into consulting and private business, and I've been in private business the last 25 or 30 years.
Yes, Larry. Well, that's exciting. Of course, that set the stage for much of what we're talking about today, co-founding the Understanding Corporation. What a wild name. What is the Understanding Corporation?
Well, the co-founder of that is Dr. Lou Brown, who's at business school, Carolina UNCG, Bryan School. And Lou and I, over the years, had worked together 30 years or more. And we found that the biggest problem in organizations, companies or government, is simply the ability for everyone to understand what you're trying to either communicate in writing or verbally to them. And that's a two-sided model, one of which people read and write either well or not so well, and in degrees in between. And on the other side, people prepare materials to deliver messages and communicate. So we found that the disconnect in that area of society was one that's dangerous, and so Understanding Corporation's mission and reality is straightening that out.
And you really think there is a big disconnect there, Larry?
It's a huge disconnect. Just a quick word about American literacy is at not an all-time low. I guess before the Pilgrims got here, we were lower, but we're 54th in world literacy now as an adult population in the world. The average American now is reading at around the 7th and a half grade level. Actually, this has deteriorated over the last 50 or so years, and a lot cannot be done about that. Some of that is inherent, has to do with the quality of the ability of people to learn, but much of it is just simply setting the stage for what we do. which is to adjust the text and the communications that are going to people so that we can direct that properly to them so they can understand.
Right.
And so, in a way, we're adjusting the text and the messages as opposed in our company to adjusting the people. The people we're what we are.
Sure.
And so we're working with that raw material, although there's a lot of changing that can be done with people, and we're encouraging literacy, encouraging reading and writing skills. They are critical.
Mm-hmm.
And you may know, Greg, and the viewers may know, a change in literacy of around 15%. That's from any point on the scale, from 15% upward change in literacy doubles, multiplies times 2 the lifetime earnings of an individual.
No way. Wait. Say that again. You said a change in literacy
of 15%.
Positive change.
A positive change of, well, if you change downward by 15%, you can eliminate half of your future wages, but it doubles your wages for life if you're 15% higher anywhere on this is from the National Adult Literacy Test that's given to all United States people every 10 years. This is from the 92 and the 2002 test, but it's very interesting so smaller degrees of changes are immediately important too.
Right.
So it's very important for every viewer to have their children, grandchildren, to do everything you possibly can to increase literacy.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one variable that changes your life, and it's true across the board. The purpose of Understanding Corporation, though, is to assume that literacy is whatever it is in groups of people, but then to sort out the people that are at various literacy levels and then bring the materials to them, training manuals, procedures manuals, instruction manuals, any kind of reading and writing that has to go on. We want to bring it in at the adjusted level that these people can best understand it.
Yes, and that sounds critical. And of course, when you think about that ability, of course, to literally double your income over the years, not that that's something that Understanding Corporation is guaranteeing, but clearly the recognition that is was provided by a series of studies. The impact of changing literacy, just that small amount, 15%, could have a dramatic long-term impact.
Right, and business understands that, Greg. This year, 2007, U.S. business will spend between 3.5 and $5 billion, with a B, billion dollars, to improve the writing skills of the people that already work for them.
Right.
They're going to spend up to $5 billion this year in U.S. industry trying to improve the writing of the people that we've already hired.
No.
Understanding Corporation believes that it would be prudent to take a look at the people you are going to hire and be sure they've already got reading and writing skills that are above or at the levels you need. And secondly, to adjust your materials that you're using with the people that are in your workforce so that there are things that can be read and can be understood.
And Understanding Corporation provides these tools for companies.
Yes, it's right simple. It is just what you'd think it might be. We evaluate people, have a product that does that very quickly and easily online, so that within 1 or 2% you can tell exactly what reading and writing level the person is at the moment. Now, I say at the moment because reading and writing changes over time, so you need to check the people occasionally, every 2 or 3 years, because it does change. It's not like IQ, intelligence, which doesn't change. It is an achievement, an accomplishment that people build on, and it changes from time to time as they read and write more and write better. Mm-hmm. So these courses to help you read better, to help you write better, are all worthwhile, and you want to use those. We have the one product that evaluates then people.
And what's that called, Larry?
It's called LitMaster.
LitMaster.
LITMASTER, LitMaster. LitMaster measures people's reading and writing ability.
Right.
Secondly, the other product then analyzes text. Any document that's been written out, a speech that's been written, a communication of any kind in writing can be run through a computer system that will tell you within a flash of a second exactly what difficulty level the text is written at. And so when you match these people then with things they can read, they're done on the same scale, which is we call the UV scale, understanding value.
Understanding value
scale. So the people, if you think of a body of people, they'll get an understanding value. It'll be written on the same scale as the documents themselves. So the documents and the people then can be matched together, or the documents can be modified so that the people, that is the target audience, we call it the audience is going to be receiving this communication, they're at a level of ability in reading, for example, that can comprehend that.
And the great thing is, I think you pointed out earlier before we started filming, Larry, that when you say the documents can be modified, they can be modified utilizing basic UC products.
Yeah, UC provides a toolbox of products within the product for text analysis. It's called TextMaster.
Right.
LitMaster for people, TextMaster for documents. TextMaster then allows you to take a document that's written at a too difficult a level and bring it quickly down to the level that will be understood by people.
That is incredible, Larry.
So our product is understanding.
Right.
The product here is motorcycles and ATVs.
Sure, and jet
Our product
skis,
is understanding.
That is incredible. I mean, these basic steps that you're talking about are just that basic in a workplace environment and critical.
Now, what's critical, what's impressive about it is that it costs nothing essentially to do it.
Right.
A person can be tested for around $30. For a whole year of analyzing text and whatever, we charge like $35 or $40. So a person for 10 cents a day can be in business doing that immediately. It's delivered through the internet or delivered as a hard load program to your PC. But once the program's in your PC, TextMaster I'm talking about, and once a person is tested, then everything's easy from there.
So for around $30, someone can be tested to figure out what you call their understanding value score, what their level is.
Right.
And then for around $35, and I'm sure the prices fluctuate based off of how large the organization is, how many are ordered at a time, but around $35, you can then make sure the documents are addressed to that person's understanding value score.
That's correct, Greg. The interesting thing too is once you start doing it, you can't stop doing it because, and we're talking about communicating not just with employees, but communicating with your customers,
right?
Communicating with your vendors, communicating with your stockholders. Communicating, if it's a government organization, with the citizens, with your taxpayers. There's a large movement in the U.S. Called the Plain English Movement, and that's been going since the Reagan years, where they determined that government regulations were written at such a difficult level that citizens couldn't understand what they are. I couldn't read them.
Right.
And I saw an example in the Wall Street Journal the other day where a group in Oregon, a state government of Oregon, had sent out a tax notice to their citizens and were amazed that no one was responding to the tax notice. A lot of times you don't respond because you don't want to pay, but in this case it was an excise tax. It was a small amount of money.
Right.
They didn't get nothing. They went back and wrote this one-pager again in plain English using shorter sentences, more clear words, and were able to generate. They took half the people out of their help center, which was an 800 line that was answering questions. And they immediately doubled the weekly amount of money, $800,000 a week, coming in from the program, simply because the people, the citizens, understood what it was they were trying to do.
Golly.
So there's a lot of motion for that in government and in other organizations. But we believe that rather than struggling to train better reading and writing habits in your workforce, it would be better to, for example, if you have 5 applicants for a job, and we know already that the job requires this level of literacy.
Right.
We would immediately test the 5 applicants, 5 times $30. You would only fly in for interviews the 2 or 3 that were really the ones that could do the job, instead of waiting 6 months, which we all used to do, to find out, well, this secretary we hired can't do this job, or this executive can't do that job, and then terminate the people, which is, by the way, the cost of a termination in the workforce today by ADP's latest number is 1.5 times annual earnings. That's what a mishire costs in a business. That's at any level. A bank teller, a high-level executive, that's the average for the U.S. industry, is 1.5 times annual earnings. So a $80,000 person mishires $120,000 hickey on that corporation.
That is incredible. I believe it. I mean, when you think about it, particularly because if they're incompetent what they're trying to get across, then it can have even dramatically more than that. If you think about if they sent out an email to staff, and it was had terribly stuff that you couldn't understand in there, or even sending stuff out to clients that they just didn't know how to get their point across. It could have terrible consequences.
Well, you see companies go, I won't name any names today, but a major bank in the Southeast, I know their chairman is a fanatic about writing good prose,
right,
and communicating clearly. And he has almost outlawed his 30,000 bank employees from writing anything that's not in their standard book of letters you can write to someone.
Wow.
So it gets to a level of control that makes normal business almost impossible with folks who you're afraid to let go. And this 1.5 time annual wages in terms of cost is not the cost of running your business.
Right.
The cost of not selling another 300 ATVs because you sent out a bad memorandum to the people of Myrtle Beach area for this beautiful company here would be ruinous and far beyond what it would cost just to pay the person for a year and a half and have to replace him.
Oh, yeah.
Or her.
And even more than that. Golly, Larry, that is incredible. When you think through, if a viewer asked to head off to school right now, we've only got about 10 minutes, Larry. If a viewer had to head off to school or get off to work, do you all have a website or a phone number, even a website, a good website to focus on for viewers to learn more about the products?
We have a website with a long name. It's www.understandingcorporation.com.
Okay, www.understandingcorporation.com.
Right. And a couple of things for the folks who are rushing off. There are some things you can do with this individually. If you don't have a company, say this doesn't apply to me, I'm not in a government, I'm not in a big organization, I'm just a person working out of the house or I'm doing whatever. Everyone can use better communications, with your wife, with your husband, with a rack, whatever we're going to communicate with. Everything's a communication problem. The ugliest woman in the world, I say, is misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, I think, would be a award we wouldn't want to give to anyone. But misunderstanding is the enemy. You have a son, a daughter, a child, a granddaughter, grandson. You want to measure those people and see what level, how they're doing on reading and writing literacy. So you can do this individually. You can go to the website, buy a simple test for yourself. Now those tests are tests that are honor tests. In other words, if you sit there and you get out the dictionary and you have your uncle come in and take the test for you, that's not a valid score.
Right.
We're building a national chain of centers where you can go get a certified test. And once you have a certified score, you can put that on your resume, and you can explain to people why you are better than other applicants they may have. Now, they probably haven't tested the other applicants, so they want to do that too. You might be interested to know, Greg, I saw yesterday that 41% of Americans plan to change jobs this year.
41% of Americans plan to change jobs this year. That's an incredible figure.
Yeah, it's an incredible figure, and it's a little bit higher than the last couple of years. So they keep statistics on this every year, and I just saw it in a memorandum yesterday. 41% of the people are going to try to change jobs, and everybody won't because they won't get a new job. Mm-hmm. But if those who do get new jobs are going to be the ones we think that will market themselves better than others. And so getting a score, touting that score, improving your score if it's not good. You can practice, in your own comfort of your home on the internet. Right. And then you can go to a national testing center and take a certified score. Once that score is certified, it's like an SAT score. You can call on it and use it. You couldn't just claim you're a 1385, and I might say just a minute, everything is graded in numbers like that. The end of the 7th grade is 700. The end of the 8th grade is 800. The end of high school is 1,200. The end of college is 1,600, and it goes on up from there. It goes up to 2,400. So people can be at whatever number they are. It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you're at that level. It just means you need to read things that you can understand at the level that you are. So you need to know where you are.
Oh, yeah. So you've been scored, Larry. We're not going to put you on the spot and ask you what it is, but you've been through that as well. And I'm sure all the folks.
It's a high score. It's easy. It's painless. My score is high, but as you get older, you get gray hair, you get higher scores. You read more things. You know more things. You know more words. Literacy is not IQ.
Right.
The smartest person in the world, maybe an aborigine in the back of Australia somewhere running around, and he's never seen a book, he's never learned one word. He scores 0 on the score. His reading and writing literacy is 0. His intelligence might be 283, right, or 183. So a person who has adequate IQ, horsepower, which doesn't change, can become better and better and better at literacy and can be a better and better reader and writer, which makes him a better and better employee and person and more useful in life.
Golly, Larry, that is fascinating and fantastic.
Yeah. Critically important for everybody watching to get that child, that grandchild, to reading and writing and doing better and better in these areas. It's an interesting world, and it's one which instead of giving someone a fish, you can teach them to fish. You know, the old story about that. Instead of giving somebody a fish, let's teach them to fish. And fishing is really just being better and reading and writing.
We've just got about 5 minutes, Larry. I'm fascinated. The morning is flying away from us, and of course, I still have a lot more questions.
We've got to go ride on this ATV.
We've got to get back on the. I like the jet ski actually. The jet ski is pretty nice.
Well, you're a beach guy.
That's right.
I'm a Chapel Hill
live
guy.
at the beach. You're in Chapel Hill, and of course, that's why it's so important that folks go online to understandingcorporation.com and check out the website. I'm sure a lot of this is broken down very simply. A number of the pieces I saw early this morning visiting your website are patent pending. Clearly, you all have filed all over, and you've got some tremendous allies, some great business you're associated with. Share with the viewers a couple of the folks that have been on board since the beginning.
I should say more about them. The reading assessments, of which there have been about 40 million done to date. You're probably wondering, you know, is this going to be legitimate or is it not? The largest company in that business is a company called TASA, T-A-S-A, public company up in New York, and they do the reading assessments for a lot of K through 12 systems across the country. This technology has typically been used in grading textbooks for children in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grades.
Right.
Where you need to adjust the textbook to the understanding level of the child. So this has been done for years. We saw it first there and moved it to the private sector and over to adult literacy. The other company that does the writing assessments is Measurement Incorporated, MI, which is in Research Triangle Park in North Carolina.
Great.
MI is the leader in the writing assessment business, and they've done millions of those as well. So those two big allies are the two big central horses in the deal. They provide under 6-year licenses the technologies to us. It all comes through when you see it on the website as our product, but it's provided by these two larger companies.
Very substantial companies that have been around a long time, which is tremendous. I saw early, and I wrote that down on your website, the byline, with understanding, everything is possible. With understanding, everything is possible. That's a pretty dang large claim, Larry. You know, when you think about it, how does that fit reality?
Well, it is reality. When things are misunderstood and not comprehended, a lot of bad things happen. And you see it everything from public policy, where our citizens don't understand a policy. They've sent people in perhaps to Washington or to their state legislatures doing the wrong thing, but they don't have the ability themselves to figure out whether that's right or wrong. They don't read well, they don't maybe communicate well. So understanding things, whether it be the training manual at your job, something that just came in the mail from the government that you're supposed to do, something from the insurance company, some medical prescription, or the doctor telling you to do something in a procedure. All of these things are, if misunderstood, very, very, very dangerous. So we do believe that understanding is the most critical thing for things to go right and for things to go well for us and for our lives to be better. So we think societally the company is important. It's not just something to make a little money, have some fun. It's actually changing the way people think about reading and writing and how they understand better, and at whatever level they may be reading and writing, to be able to function better as humans.
It is not just important to a business, to a company, even to individuals. It truly is. It can have an impact on society.
We think it really will, and we think it will adjust parents and grandparents to understand themselves how important this feature of their lives has been. If they're at the far end of their life, like I am looking back, how would I have done in my life if I'd have been better at these things? And so my changes I can make now are to my grandchildren and to my children, impressing on them how important it is to do better in these areas, and then for everyone, just to be sure that your employer or anybody that's trying to direct you to do your job better is directing you at a level that you can understand it. If you don't understand it, hold your hand up and say, I don't understand this. It needs to be written at a level where I can understand it.
That's a tough thing oftentimes for folks to do, but it is easy to do
with our tool.
That's right. Larry, thanks so much for being with us
Greg,
this morning. Really enjoyed having you down.
Ride.
And thanks so much again for your presenting sponsorship for the ICE Awards last week for the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce and the upcoming Heart Ball on February 17th. We truly appreciate it. The community does. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Larry Amick coming up next. It's a large claim, but you heard him say it. It's reality. With understanding, everything is possible. With understanding, everything is possible. You think about it, years ago when Larry Amick and Lou Brown were getting together to try to plan out something that would really help not only change companies, not only change businesses, but have a tremendous impact on society. Coming up with the idea of the Understanding Corporation, it's taken a long time. They've got a tremendous product, an amazing technology company. Visit them online at understandingcorporation.com. That's www.understandingcorporation.com, and see how it can help impact your life.